I will do a quick demo of how my application works with the light and dark mode. So right now my system is in light mode. So that is what I'm using in my Windows PC. Then this is the light mode of my application. So I can toggle this to, and you can see it's indicating system. So I can toggle it to dark. So if I click on dark, that is what we have. And you can see there's no any flicker, even if I reload my browser. See, this is just, not showing because it was reloading, but you can see there's no change in color of my application. Let me hot reload again. So there's no change in color of my application. So everything is smooth. Now, if I go ahead and change my system to dark mode and go back to my browser, so it's dark. And if I take this to system, it will remain as dark because the application is detecting that my system is in dark mode. And I can toggle to light mode if I feel like using the light mode as a user. See, so I have two colors set here. I can just go ahead and change the primary color of my application. Right now I'm using a shade of purple. So with a simple step or a simple fix, I can quickly change the color of my dark mode. So the primary color of my dark mode, I can call it maybe aqua, like that, and even make this aqua, but a shade of aqua. Let me make it lighter, like maybe like that, and save this. So if I save this and go back to the app, you see everything has changed. As simple as that. So if I go to the light mode, so the light mode is remaining as the primary color I've set for the light mode. So I can also change that. So I just go to this same file and probably just copy this and paste it here. If I want to have the primary color to be the same in all cases, you see, which looks very bad on the light mode. So we can maybe give the light mode a shade of blue. Let me just pass blue here for the primary color. See how it looks. But we haven't changed the color on the dark mode. So if I click, it goes back to aqua. And the way I'm writing my classes, I don't have to come to my application and start declaring the dark mode or the light mode. So you just write like, what was the name of my background color? Which color do I want to use? The color I named foreground, and you put it there. Look at the text. What name do I want to use for the text color, or the color I want to use for my text? There is a color I named secondary. I pass it there. Then there is a color I named text. I pass it there. And you don't have to declare the dark or light when you're writing your code. So it makes your development very easy. And also changing the colors, it makes it very easy. So you can decide that you want the background of your dark color to be maybe green. That's a very weird color for the background. So let's say we want it to be yellow, crazy color. So if I put yellow and go back to this, you see the dark has this background color and it changes all over. So that is how your development experience is going to be very easy to change things around. So just go back. Yeah. So I'll now proceed and start doing the coding part, installation of the library that we are going to use here, which is only one. So next themes. Then the other one I'll use is React icons, just for these icons that you're seeing in my UI. So I have a brand new Next.js project running. So you see this is the default UI that the Next.js application comes with. Then we shall need one library to do the themes. It's known as Next themes. So if I just navigate back, it's this library here, search Next themes. You can see the recent update was 11th March 2025, so it's actively being maintained. Then I'll just use React icons for maybe symbols, yeah, for the symbols like the dark symbol and the light symbol, just to make the UI look better. So I'll go back to the code and do the installation of the next themes. So I have two terminals. One is running the app and the other one I'll use it for installation. I'll just do npm I next themes. Let me just confirm if that is the correct statement or a command. Yeah, it's next themes. So I'll install that. Then I'll also install React icons. So npm I React icons. So that is also installed. If we go to the docs, scroll down to HTML and CSS, it's that this library supports the Next.js fully. So it supports the dark mode, including the system preferences. So if someone has set his machine to use the dark mode, like right now I'm using the light mode. So if I set my machine to dark mode, then the library will detect that when the user is logging into the application and display the dark mode that you have set to it. So I'll just set it back to light mode. We shall come back to this later. And then if I go back to the docs, this is what you need to do in your CSS file. Like you define the default, which is of course the light mode, and you also define what you want to happen in the dark mode. You can see the naming convention because they've used the CSS variables. So let your variables, of course, be the same in the light mode and the dark mode, but you only change the colors. And therefore, when your system switches to the dark mode, it's going to apply these colors to the background and this one to the foreground. And that is what exactly I'm going to do. So I'll go to my code. And then inside the global.css, I'll first clear everything that I have here, apart from the import statement for the Tailwind. So this current version of Next.js doesn't come with Tailwind config. So you just import this inside your globals.css. So we're going to start defining the colors as they have instructed us. I'll just copy the whole of this, save on time, paste it here. So these are my colors for the default, which is the light mode. Instead of using this, I have my predefined colors because that is going to, take us time to start doing that from scratch. So I'll just copy those colors and paste it here for the white mode. Sorry, for the light mode, like that. Then I'll also copy the colors for the dark mode. So if I paste this, I'll just take you through. So my light mode will use a shade of gray, a lighter gray, and a foreground white. And the text color is going to be dark gray. Then I've decided to create another color known as primary, which is a shade of purple, and the secondary is also a shade of purple, which is lighter shade. So the primary colors, I've decided to use same colors for the light and the dark mode, primary and secondary colors, as you saw on the introduction or the demo of how the system works. Then after doing this, we need to pass these variables to the Tailwind utilities. And to do that, we'll just pass at theme here. And we have to inline this to our Tailwind. And to do that, I'll just copy and explain later. So the naming convention is that if you're going to use background as the name of your color, then prefix double hyphen color, then hyphen the name that you want. So if I come to my page like this one here, let me just clear the default UI and create a functional component and give this class background color. So let's say we want to use this color, which will detect this color on the dark theme and detect this color on the light theme. Then we shall just pass this name, which is background here. Even the IntelliSense should be able to, detect that. As simple as that. If you want the text color maybe to be the primary color, just say primary. See, it's detected by the IntelliSense like that. Simple. So we go back and just explain those other colors. So I have all the colors mentioned, the text color, the primary, and the secondary. And that is everything you need to do to the CSS. Maybe just do the general background color of your whole application, which is being defined by the body now. I'll get the background color of my body and I'll make that a CSS variable. So I'll just pick from the root. So either the root as a dark theme or a root as a default theme. So that's going to be variable background like that. And right now, if I go to the browser, this is what I have. You see, it's picking my text color already, which is a primary color. That is what I've set for the text color. And for the background, it's picking a light color, which is the default theme. So if I go back and set this to dark mode, it should pick the dark mode colors. Okay, right now it's not picking that because we haven't configured, we haven't provided the theme provider to our application. So we are going to do that. If I go back to the docs, which is this one here. So we have two implementation, the pages mod and the app router. So we are using the app router, so we are going to use this method. Remember, this is a client component. They have put a note here. So if you're going to put this at the top level of your application, like the way they have done here, layout.jsx, if this is the main layout file, then it's going to make your whole application a client, because you will have to pass the client directive or use client directive. So to avoid that, we shall just create a separate file, make it client, and just get the component and render it inside our layout.jsx or .tsx if you're using TypeScript like me. And that is what I'm going to do. So inside my app, I'll just create a components folder. Then inside this app, I'll also create teams. Let me call it teams. Then inside the teams, I'll create a file, call it next team provider, like that. So this is a TSX. Then I'll create a functional component here. Go to the docs and just get this team provider. So it's supposed to be a client component, so I'll have to pass that directive. So use client, like that. Then I'll render my provider here, and I'll render the children. I'll have to pass those props here, children props. And I'll also have to declare the type. So children supposed to be React Node, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, like that. Then I'll go to my layout file. Inside the body, I'll just remove this class and render that component here. So this way our application remains as a server site, not a client site. So I'll pass next theme provider, that. So just to test that this is not going to be a client component, our layout file, you can create a use state hook here and just maybe make it a string and save it. You'll find that the application is going to break, complaining that you're using a use state hook. You see that? But if you remove it and go back to team provider and do the same, it's not going to complain. Let's just import it. That. See, the error is gone. And the background color is now working, see? So when the app is in dark mode, you'll see that the background color is a shade of navy blue or a shade of blue. Now, the other thing that we need to do now is just go back to the light mode first and now start styling the application to get the function or a hook that is going to make the user able to decide which theme he wants the UI to be, like light mode or a dark mode of the application. So the user may be using a dark theme in the system, but he likes or she likes the light mode of our application. So he or she can do that. So I'll go back to the layout and just structure my application. Inside this, I'll have a div, a flex, and inside this flex, I'm going to have a sidebar. So I'll just go to the components and create those two components, the sidebar and then navbar. That is the top navigation and the side navigation, which actually is just going to be a UI. We are not going to have any events on those applications apart from the top navigation, which is going to help us to toggle the themes. Sorry. So side bar.tsx. So we pass a React function here, add a function or component, functional component, save it. Then I'll create a navbar.tsx, again a functional component, save that. So inside this layout, I'll first pass the sidebar. Then I'll also put the children inside the div that I've just created. I'll create another div which is going to have a flex display. Put the children there and the top navigation. Like that. Then let's put that top navigation. So navbar. Sorry. Design like that. I'll just do some styling. I'll need the background color of the whole application to be BG or background like that. So we are referring to this background now. Then I'll have a padding of 6, a gap of 6 also. And I'll have a text color. So the name we have given to our text color is just text. So we pass that text color there in that text for the whole application. Then for the navigation or top navigation and the body of the application, we have a flex call because the navigation is on the top and the other elements will be at the bottom. I'll also give it a width. I want it to be 5 out of 6. I've divided my columns into 6 sections, so with it is going to be 5/6, like that. And that is the only styling we are going to do in the layouts. I'll even go ahead and close it completely. So if I go to my app, this is what we have now. I'll go back to the code and start working on the side navigation. So the side navigation is going to have a flex display, the main parent. So class name display flex, so we do that. It's going to have a background color of foreground, so BG, sorry. We use the foreground because it's slightly the same as the background. That is what we want. Give it a padding of 4 and some border radius around it. I'll just make it LG, and then the height should be full, so it takes the height of the parent. Then I'll also give it a flex direction of column and the width it because it's the same level. Let me just open the layout. The sidebar is in the same level with this div that has 5 out of 6, so the sidebar is going to take 1/6. So width it is 1/6. And another thing I'll do, maybe put a shadow. So a shadow of maybe XL and a minimum height of 80% of the viewboard or the screen. So min H, I'll just pass 80 view height, so VH, like that. So if I save this right now, it's starting to look nice. So we need those icons and the data for the sidebar. So to achieve that, I'm just going to have an array of objects here that is going to contain the sidebar data or components like that. So these values we have here are the React icons. I'm also going just to import them. I believe you know how to do that, get the React icons. So I'll import that. For those who don't know how to import the React icons, you just, after you've done the installation, you go to this section here. Let's say you want a homepage. You can see all these icons here. So you click on that and it will give you the code to import and the code to render. So what I've done is that because I want to make my code readable, I've just put them into an array of objects. Then I'll iterate over this array using the map method. And that is what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to create first the top section, which is going to represent our company, and like the head of the company. So I'll create a div with a flex display, and inside this div I'm going to have an icon or a symbol which is going to represent the logo. It's the BS sound, this one here, sound wave. So this sound wave, I'll give it a class name. That's a good thing about React icons. You can just pass the Tailwind classes. The text color, I want it to be primary color, which is common in both cases. It's common here and it's also common there, same color. So that's what I'm going to do. So text is going to be primary. And the only other thing I'll do to this is giving it the text size. Then I'll come back to the parent and say that my items are going to be at the center, and put a gap because I'm going to have a title also. So a gap of 2, and the text is going to be text color, of course, for the other element. So remember, we gave the text color the name of text, just like that. So we pass text. The other component that is now going to take this color is this paragraph that I'm going to create here. I'm going to call the company Nifty, like that. So this is going to take this text color. I'll just make the font of this bold. So font bold, like that. So if I go back, should be able to see that. Great. Next thing is we continue styling the other parts of the application, which is still the sidebar for this case. So right now, I'm sure if I take my application back to the light mode, so I'm now in the light mode of the app. Okay, we need to do that using buttons because it has already defaulted to the previous theme that was there. So I'll create a div here with the flex display and a flex call. That is for now the list, of the navigations that we are going to have here. I need a padding top of 16, and okay, let me give a gap of 6. Gap of 6, and font maybe semi-bold. in that. Then I'm going to render this. So I'll just iterate over that using the map method. So sidebar data dot map. This is going to take an item, and we shall have an index, and this index is going to be a number for the case of TypeScript. Then we are going to return a div here, which is going to be a flex. Sorry, we need to return that. So we pass our key, which is going to be the index. Then inside this div, we are going to have the icon. So our icon is represented by this icon key. So it's going to be item dot icon. So the good thing about this is that we can also pass classes here. So I'll just say class name is I want the text to have a size of 2XL. Then for the styling of our div that is returned, or each item that is returned, I'm going to use a CSS. I'm going to use some variables here, so I'll use backticks instead of those other symbols, so that we are able to write variables inside. So I want the dashboard, this dashboard, to have a primary color. That's the reason why I did that. So to achieve that, I'll check if the name has a value of dashboard, then I'll want the color to be primary. So to do that, I'll pass this $sign and say that if item name, so if the item name is the same as dashboard, then I'll want the text color to be secondary, and background color to be secondary also, but with opacity. So we put an opacity of around 20%, like that. Then if the name is not the same as the background, we just make the text color to be text, and we don't do anything to the background. So if I go back to the app, you can see that it's reflected. So we can go ahead and do the other styling now outside the condition. So this is going to be universal. We have a flex items to be at the center, and I'll also put a gap of 2, and the cursor, I want it to be pointer, like that. I also want a hover effect on my elements just to make it appealing. So the hover effect should be on the background, so I'll pick secondary with the opacity of 20, and I'll put a padding around this div, and I'll also put a radius. So rounded, I want it to be LG, large. So if I save this, go back to the browser, you see how the hover is happening and all that. Then I'll go back and pass my paragraph. So so for the paragraph, it's going to be item.name. Like that. So if I go back to the browser, see everything is looking okay, but there's a problem with it. We need to fix that, and that should be originating from maybe the parent. Okay, I know why it's happening like that, because I've zoomed my page. I can probably just maybe pass a minimum with it here, but that is not an issue because we are concentrating on the teams. So right now this is what we have. I'll go to the navigation because these are not supposed to have any click events, just to make our app appealing. So let's go to the navigation quick to save on time. So for the top navigation, this is where we are going to, import our hook that is going to help the user navigate from one team to another. And if we go back to the team documentation, there's something that they are warning us about, which I need to get to. It's going to have some flicker because this team is not recognized in the backend. It's not server side, or this component cannot be rendered from the server. So it's a client side component. And if we just render this theme the way it is, the way they've done here, then it's going to have, some flicker when you reload the page or when you're changing from one team to another, which is not a smooth experience. And to avoid that, it's actually here. The above code is hydration and safe, and will throw hydration mismatch warning when rendering the SSG or SSR. This is because we cannot know the team on the server, so it will always be undefined until mounted on the client. So to avoid that, they have given us an example here. So when you click on the example, this is what they are telling us to do. This is the unsafe method or procedure, but this is the safe procedure. So to fix that, we are going to only mount this if it is mounted like so. If the use effect runs, it means that we are now on the client, and we set this mounted to true. So you just create a state that is going to, only return this if the application is fully on the client side now. So I'll go ahead and start implementing this. So we have different sections here they have decided to do, and that is what we are also going to do. But you can make your teams as many as possible. You can have a green, red, blue, or any name that you want to give to your team. So let's start by importing the team from the use team. First of all, this is supposed to be a client component. So use client Then we are going to have a use effect snippet. This is not going to depend on any variable, but the initial loading of the application. So let's have two states here. I'll just copy everything and paste, then explain what is happening. First of all, I'll import the use state, and I'll also import the use theme from the next theme provider. Save that. So I have this mounted, which is going to be set to true when the application is fully loaded on the browser. And then if this is not loaded, I'll always return a null for this page. Then I have a show drop down because I'm going to have a drop down for the selection of the teams. So that is why I have this state. So inside the use effect, when the app is loaded, we set the mounted to true. In that, then we're also going to return a null if mounted is false. So if there is no mounted, return null here. Then we are going to start styling our divs. I want the top navigation to have a first element there is a div with a flex that justify and push everything to the right hand side of the element. Then gap of 50% of the children that are going to be inside. So gap, I'll just pass 50% of the width, and I'll of course set the width to be full like that. So right now, if I go to my app, this is how it looks like. Then go back. There's that search bar that I had put there. Maybe just to save on time, I have this on my notes. I'll copy that and paste it there and just explain what is happening, because typing from scratch is just going to make us spend a lot of time here. So I have created a section for my search bar, which is going to have a flex and a border. And the border color is going to be text, which is the text color that we've set in text color for the light and the text color for the dark. So it's going to change depending on the theme that is going to be set. Then the focus within means that when I focus on this input, I want the parent to have a border of secondary and items to be at the center so that they're aligned to each other. This is a React icon, so I've shown you how to do that. So if I go back right now, the navbar is not being rendered. The reason behind that is that if I go back to layout, yeah, it's there. For some reason, it's not being rendered. See? I need to restart this. Yeah. So the navbar is there now, you can see. So when I focus on the input, the parent is giving you that color. So all the styling is done. I'll move to the section with the icons. So I'll just have a div there. flex item center and a gap in between, because we have the icon for the profile and we have the icon for toggling the teams. So I'll create a div here with a flex, and inside this div I'm going to have an icon. So I'm going to have several icons. One is going to represent the light mode, one is going to represent the dark mode, and one is going to represent the system. So for the light mode, this is the icon I'm going to use. It's known as TB Sunlow. It's very easy to locate that. You'll just come here and search for maybe light, and React is going to give you such icons, you see, and you select any that suits you. Then for the system, I'm going to use an icon of a desktop. So Tailwind is able to import that directly from React icons. Then for the dark mode, I'm going to use this icon. It's called night. So the same way, you go to the React icons and just search for dark, like that, and you see all this, the symbol of a moon. So I need to refresh again, probably, to display them. They're not showing now, but okay. Let's go ahead, continue styling this. So these are the icons that I'm going to use to toggle the application. And we are depending on the team name, because right now I just did a wrong implementation here, sorry. So that's why everything was not showing. Where did I even put this? Is it the sidebar? This was not supposed to be here. I hope you noted that, so I'll just copy this and go to the navigation. So outside this, I put my icons and I make sure I import them. So desktop and night, like that. And now you see the icons are displayed here. So I'll continue styling everything. I'll pass in this div, I'll pass more styling. I'll make it a relative, like that, because I need the drop down to be absolute. So I'll create another div, make it a flex. This is going to be the top of my the toggling container. Then we shall have now the drop down on the lower end. So in this, I'm going to make text 2XL, and I'm also going to give it a text color of text, because that is what we declared in the global CSS for both cases. Then because we are only going to display one icon at a time, so right now if I come here and log theme, and inspect that in the browser, you can see it saying that it's a dark theme, because we had declared that, and that is actually what is being rendered here. right? So with that theme, we are able to manipulate our styling and everything. So what I'm going to do is create conditions here so that if the theme name is dark, then we are going to display this icon. If it is system, we are going to display this icon. If it is light, we are going to display this icon. And I have that code already, so I'll just copy it and paste it here. So if the theme name is light, I'll display the light icon. If the theme is system, I'll display the desktop system, I mean icon. And if the theme is dark, I'll display the dark symbol like that. Then the other thing I'll need to do now is maybe have a click event. I'll come back to that once we have the container ready. So right now it's being rendered there. We shall fix that. It's supposed to be on the top side, which is here. Okay. So let's render the drop down. So we only want this drop down to be available if the show drop down state is true. So I will pass that the and. So we are going to have a div here. Pass a class name. I have the styling for the drop down. I'll just copy and paste that. So inside our drop down, we are going to have our icons again and the text, just to show that this is what we want to select. So first case, it's just going to be a div, and all these icons are going to, you know, have the same styling. So I'll just copy the styles and alright. So the background is going to be secondary. No, there's no background. It's just a hover and padding of 2, item center. You know, this normal styling if you're familiar with the Tailwind. So I'm going to have my icon for the system here. So I'll start with system, which is this desktop icon. I'll also give it a label with a paragraph and call it system. In that. So if I make my drop down to be true, then this is what we have. You can see that's perfect. And then I'll just copy what I have here because the styling is the same, and recreate 2 more. And that. So if I recreate 2 more, and see that I'll just now change the icons. So this one is going to be light, and this is going to be dark. In that. Then I'll also change the icons for the light. We've already imported those icons because we have done them conditionally at the top. In that, save it. Then we need now to toggle our themes, set the themes manually. So for the system, I'll just create a click event here. So on click, we need to set theme. So I'll pass anonymous function here that is going to set theme. First of all, I'll set my theme. So use the set theme function. We set this to system. Then the other thing I need to do is to close the drop down after I've set the theme. So after I've clicked on system, then this drop down should close. So set show drop down to false. So I'll just copy this function and paste it here also, and only change this to light, and I'll copy the same function and paste it here, and change this to dark, and this is where the magic starts happening now. So right now it is dark, and we want to change it to system. So our system is light, so I'm using the light mode. So if I click on system, see, it goes back to the light mode, and this is how the application looks on the light mode. And you see even the icon that is active is the system. So I just need to fix this to start showing the icons, so to the drop down. So I'll pass an event here. So on click, anonymous function that is going to show the drop down. So make it true, and by default it should be false. And that, in fact, I just want to toggle that, so opposite of what is already there. So show drop down, like that, so that I can click just to toggle. So if I change it to dark, it goes to dark. If I change it to light, it goes to light. System, like that. Okay, so I'll just come back to this home page. I think it's giving us those errors. I'll remove this and the default styling that is there. So for the home page, I just want to display those cards, and to achieve that, I'll get the data so that we use the array iteration. So I'll copy data, paste it here, and those are just React icons. So I'll also copy the icons, paste them there, and I'll probably make this a client component. So use a client, like that. So I want the parent to have a grid display with 3 columns and a gap of 6 and a padding y of 8. That is simple Tailwind styling. Then inside this, I'm just going to render these components. So I'll take data, I use a map method to iterate. So I'll have item, I'll also have the index of the item. So index is a number, and I'm going to return a card, which is going to have a flex display, like that. Then this card should have a key, which is going to be index. So inside this card, maybe I'll just pass default styling. You don't need to type the styling from scratch. You already know what is happening. Even up to here, if you stop this video, you should be able to implement this in your application. So flex call, I've only done the foreground so that it's closer. If you look at the foreground that I have for the sidebar, we need the same foreground for the cards. See here. Good. Rounded LG and padding top and all that. So inside this, I'm going to have an icon. So I'll just copy that. Let me just copy everything and paste there. It will save us a lot of time. It's easier to explain. So first I'll render the icon, which I've done here, and give it a color secondary and the text of 4XL. Then I'll have a padding for the title. I mean a paragraph for the title, which has a text, color of text, and the font bold. So that is the name, which is this one here. Then I'll just pass a lorem text here and give it this color and the font weight of thin. So if I go back to the UI, this is what we have. So I just need to fix the layout so that it's top, bottom, like that. So there's a problem with this one here. This needed to be flex call. The flex direction is flex call, like that. So it looks better now. We can toggle the system. We can toggle the dark. We can also go to the light mode, like that. Then the other thing I'll need to do is just make sure my page has a minimum height of 100 ph, this one here. So min h, let's just make it 100 vh, like that. So this is how the application looks like. Maybe the other thing I forgot to put here is the icon for profile. It is on the navigation. And I'm going to do that right now. That is just a bonus. So it's going to be outside our elements. I mean the icons that are toggling the theme. So text of 4XL and text of secondary, that is the text color. So right now, if I change my system to dark mode, you realize that if I click on system, it will change it to dark mode. Let's do that. So my system is dark now. So it's dark. And right now we have a light theme. So if I change this to system, see, it goes to dark. So it's able to detect that. And if I visit this in a different browser, let's say Firefox. So Firefox is detecting that my system is dark. And if I put that, okay, because of the testing, there is a caching here. What I'll do is just close this and use incognito of this browser, incognito of Chrome. So in incognito, if I run this, automatically detects the dark mode. Okay, let's make it light mode and see if it automatically detects. So that is the light mode. See, the incognito is also detecting that. Great. So that is it, guys, for this video. I hope you have learned something. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video. In case there's any question you have for me, please you can do it in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can consider subscribing. I will really appreciate. And then I'm also going to push this code to GitHub so that you can quickly get it and maybe go through it if there is a part that you didn't get. Okay, thanks again. See you in the next tutorial.